I'm with an amazing, like, I don't know how you guys connected, but thank you for connecting. You guys need to see this. I said earlier, I do not look at the stuff. I want to keep it fresh. But I happened to go across it because I was like, there was one interview. I'm like, why did I do that? But anyway, I looked at this and I said, it's not what I thought it was. The title, and we got Renee with us, and Imagine. Is that how you say it, or did I mess it up?
It's Imagine.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. All right. But let's go to the title of this, because you said it happens, but it doesn't just happen to women. It also happens to men, but it's called At Your Cervix. What's it about, and why do people need to, like, you really need to watch this? I didn't know this happened.
It's called At Your Cervix. Welcome. I'm the director producer. Renee is co-producer, cinematographer, editor, and we've been friends for 30 years. So we made a film called At Your Cervix, which is about the use of patient bodies while they're under anesthesia, without their knowledge, without their consent, to teach medical students essentially how to perform pelvic exams or give them time to practice pelvic exams. And it's non-consensual. It happens pretty systemically. I mean, we've got research that shows how prevalent the issue is. This issue also, it also happens in terms of rectal and prostate exams. It happens to people of all genders. The film is focused on pelvic exams. So that's why we called it At Your Cervix.
My mother, not gonna lie, the doctor literally said, you need, because there's a thing that you're supposed to do, right? It's called a exam, right? Every so often you're supposed to do it. It's a rectal exam. Right? They say at a certain age you gotta do it. Okay, my mother, she up in years, big deal. But the point is this: you mean they could do something without her consent if they put her under? Because she said, I'm at an age, I don't know if I can go under anesthesia. I go, you don't want to go under because they may do something without your consent, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And if you talk about the studies 20 years ago versus currently.
Yeah. I mean, there was a study 20 years ago that really kind of opened the floodgates on this issue and allowed the public to know that this even exists, because medical students were surveyed. And the main doctor that did that survey is featured in our film, Ari Silver Eisenstadt. You get to hear his whole story in the film and the obnoxious, horrible things they said to him. But he found that 90% of students had done exams on anesthetized women at the time who had not consented to these practice exams that were for the purpose of medical education and not for the purpose of the patient's care. Just last year, we had a new research study that came out, and it was done across 5 different states and 6 different institutions. They wanted to actually study different types of institutions to see, is there a difference? What they found is no, there was no difference. And it was happening at all of these institutions at a rate of 84% of students. So what we now know is that in 20 years, it essentially hasn't changed. A 6% change at that level is not, that's a negligible change. So medicine has done nothing to change this. And so we made this film as a social impact tool. We are using it to work on legislation across the United States. We want to see laws passed banning this in all 50 states, because it's unbelievable. It's this like secret in medicine. And the only reason we know that it happens is because of the medical students who have been brave enough to speak up.
And just a quick add is, if women were asked, specifically women, it's like, what was it? Like 75% would say yes. They just want to be asked. It's really a film about the lack of consent in the medical industry as well. So it's just like, just ask.
Yeah.
Just ask.
I still don't want you touching me there. I had a problem once, okay? And I'm going to put it out there because I don't know if USC does this. Thank God I didn't go under. But the point is this. They helped me, okay? And I had something I said, and then they did like a CAT scan. They did a bunch of stuff. They said, oh, we're going to have to operate. I go, oh. But I was awake, and I hated it, right? Then they do a numbness, and I was like, right? But the question I have is, and I think men they're not all right with it, but I think women, like, okay, the women that you have on this, because I saw a couple of things. I didn't put on the audio. I just got it. What do the women say, though? That do they know that they were one of these? And do they go, really, you would go there? Because, and I get it. Like, do they say, oh, there's just something about it that's very, like, I don't know the word for it. Some women, I think, would say the word invasive. Some would say, I didn't give consent. Some would say, I didn't give you permission. And then you go, well, how many people were in the room? Because the video shows that. It says there's more than one person. You go, who's the one in the room that you go, I didn't know that. I didn't sign up for that person.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then they see you on the street and you go, why do you look at me that way? What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, the problem, and I think the reason this has persisted for so long is that most of the time patients don't know what's happened. I mean, they're under anesthesia, so they don't have a conscious memory of it when they wake up. However, we know now from research, the body remembers. We know that there's a cellular memory in the body. So I think a lot of times, people feel like something's not right. Something, or I woke up with like weird things going on that seem weird. What happened here? And so it's like there's so many issues, there's so many problems with it. And then I think when it is denied by medicine and medical education, it is a form of gaslighting of patients, because they're being told like, oh, you're making it up. No, everything's above board, but it's not above board. And there's been a lot of ways, and we talk about this in the film. We hear from a number of different medical students who give their accounts of kind of how it kind of flew under the radar, and it's designed to.
And the 3 women in the film specifically, they all found out different ways. All of them had a history of sexual trauma, and all of them were re-triggered. So that is no bueno. Yeah.
Meaning they all experience like PTSD symptoms
Yeah.
that are very similar to what you would experience after a sexual assault. All of them had experienced sexual assault in the past. And so this re-triggered all of that.
And some people are all calling it medical assault. You know?
People don't understand. And I'm glad you went there. I think you could do a follow-up too. And here it is, because I've talked to some people behind the scenes. They never go on camera, but they said this. They said, and you're right, there's something about the body, and there's something linked with trauma. And sometimes the body just says, no, I don't want to remember that. And people don't remember. For example, there are people that are at a young age. Something happens, right? We don't have to get very graphic, but it happens, right? Then somehow later in the years, they go, wait, did that happen? But this is a thing where you go, you open something you shouldn't have, because people are not ready to handle that. Because then they go back and they go, but the body does something really weird, and it says, no. I'll give you an example. This happened. You said PTSD. I've had so many things on PTSD, but I got beat, okay, to a pulp, okay, and it was bad. But somebody touched me recently. I said, please don't touch me, and I was weird that the response came out, please don't touch me. They touched me on my back. I didn't like the feel, all right? As a kid, I never liked the feel, okay, when people touch me in a way. But I'm like, I'm all right. I'm all good with a hug. But sometimes I go, why do I feel weird about that? When I got beat, and I got left for dead. Seriously, you would have found me dead. I think I blocked it all out, or my body blocked out, whatever. But the point is, when he touched me, he got upset. But I'm like, you don't get it. Some people don't like being touched. There are women that have been, abused and or assaulted, and there's a flinch that they do. They don't even know that could be abuse. But I think these people are doing something that's so not good, and they're opening and they're triggering people in a really bad way, right?
Absolutely. I mean, and when there's no greater trust you can put in someone than to entrust them with your life while you are under anesthesia. That is an enormous trust to put in someone. And so to be violated in this way while you are under anesthesia, even if it's for ostensibly, a noble reason, as I think that many people in medicine might consider it to be, it's not okay. And that can have tremendous repercussions on a patient. And it often will keep patients from coming back for the care that they need. And that's not what we want. We want people to be going in for the medical care that they need. And what that means is they need to be treated as the leader in their own healthcare, as the decision maker in their healthcare. They need to be, asked for consent if things are going to be done to their body. They need to be informed of what's about to happen, especially when we're dealing with the genitals, which of course is a source of so much trauma for so many people, and is so private and important to so many people.
Yeah, I got questions. And my mother, she's like, I did not want to do that. I go, don't go on her, because you don't know who's going to be in the room. Seriously. Are there some hospitals that are very like, yeah, we do that? And then are there some, because I can see some going, well, we're doing you a service. I go, you're not doing me a service. I don't know who that guy is, right? And there's some that help students learn I'll give you an example. Over here we have USC. Okay, USC usually has a doctor supervising, but I recently took my mother because she passed out. It was horrible. And my sister, she recently went to like a hospital as well. She's special needs. But I go, and I always have that question: are you taking advantage of someone? Because there's always that one in the room that you go, you're weird. And because my sister, you know, she's a young woman, she's disabled, but then you find them like with a kid down the line. I know they didn't do this, but it happens with coma patients. It happens with people that cannot speak for themselves or talk. And in a way, that's kind of where you have a precedent here, because these people are not speaking for themselves because they're not conscious it's even happening. And it is in a very private, you know, even though they say, well, it's medicine, we're training people to understand, you know, the cervix. I go, don't you have like a dummy for that? Don't you have someone that could sign up for that like all the way? Or wouldn't you do it consciously? Why do you have to be unconscious to do that?
They don't have to. I mean, that's exactly what we show in the film. I taught medical students for 10 years in New York City at every major medical institution. We taught at Columbia and Cornell and NYU and all of the big schools there. And we use our own bodies to teach. I'm a sexuality educator. We were highly trained to do this work. We taught in small clinical settings and worked with students, modeling what a good breast and pelvic exam looked like. And then they would get to practice on us as their simultaneous patient and instructor. It's a very unusual form of teaching, and it's something that most people don't know about. And that's actually what we started the film thinking we were making a film about. We thought that in and of itself was an interesting story. And then as we did the research and we found out this other thing was going on with patients under anesthesia, that students were learning and practicing, and I put that in quotes, in that way, we knew we had to talk about that in the film. So there's just no reason. There's stats that show that patients want to be altruistic. They want to help. And then there's also trained teachers that can be paid to come in and work with patients. But I think that obviously there's an economical advantage to using anesthetized patients that are not going to be able to speak up because they don't know it's happened.
It's economic and efficient.
And
there's
efficient.
There's a lot of talk about efficiency.
Yeah.
And just to clarify, the program she's talking about is the Gynecological Teaching Associates.
Yeah.
And they're not just in New York, they're throughout the country. Yeah. And it's lay women who, as she said,
really give consent, and you know what you're doing.
Yeah. No, and we're awake.
Yeah, it's a little say, ouch, that hurts.
Right.
Or yes, you're doing the right thing.
Yeah.
On a dummy, you're not that. On somebody that's under anesthesia, the body is so relaxed, you're not actually going to get the body in the same state as you will when somebody goes in for an exam, when they're awake and they're nervous and whatnot. So
and muscles are going to be tense in a way that they're not when you're under anesthesia.
And the part about the unconscious people, we actually just co-wrote a bill with Colorado, and one of the stipulations was that this cannot happen on people that cannot give consent, because there's enough living awake people, not living, but enough awake people that can give consent. There's no reason to practice this on somebody that is either in a state where they're like, unless it's absolutely needed,
for their care.
And usually they do. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. If you do feel something, there's actually a camera that can go in. So why don't they do that?
What do you mean, if you feel something?
Well, okay. The reason, and correct me if I'm wrong, I'll totally be wrong on this, but the reason they go in, right? And they do. It's very, that's why women are going, wow. When they go in, they know the anatomy. It's different in every woman. Every woman is different. I understand that. I could be wrong. There's endometriosis. I'm a big supporter on that. There's things that like you want a person that is trained to understand about body and what to feel for. That is sometimes what a device cannot get. That's why it's necessary to get, what you do. But the point is, I guess I got so many questions. Look, go watch them. It's a good, right? Go watch it. When does it air?
It's on Thursday at 2 p.m. Thursday night at 2 p.m. at the La Femme or LA Femme Film Festival.
Okay.
And we'll be there talking about it and answering questions.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing we've seen in all of the screenings we've been doing with this film, we've won many awards already, which has been really sweet. But after people watch the film, they don't leave because they just like you, they have so many questions. They really need to stay and talk about the issues in the film. So we have some very robust conversations, and we're really looking forward to that in Los Angeles. We're both from Southern California, so we're super excited to bring the film.
Yeah,
there.
I cannot wait. But something you said, and that's why I look like I'm understanding this now. My mother said something about, because she knows she has to get an exam, right? And she's like, I don't want to give her age, but all right, whatever. She's I cannot give that out. Anyway, the point is, she doesn't like the one who does the exam, right? And I'm like, why would you not like that? And she goes, I just do not feel comfortable. I go, I wonder if there's something there that I don't know, right? So there's a good way of doing, then there's a bad way of doing. I would say listen to that and say, can we get another person to do the exam? Because maybe there's something there, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, patients typically aren't listened to, especially women, especially Black women, women of color. There's so much research that shows the way that they're ignored. I mean, the Retrievals podcast just came out showing just an egregious situation at a medical school where patients were not listened to about their pain or about the things they were not comfortable with. And if you're not comfortable, you don't have to move forward with any exam. So we do a lot of patient education as well in this work, because we want patients to understand what their rights are, what they can ask for, what they don't need to stand for, and also just what a good pelvic exam should be like, because most people don't even know what that's like because they've never had the experience.
Yeah, you guys don't get it. Trust me.
Yeah, your mom might be one of those people that's never had a good pelvic exam.
You got it. And a trusted person, right? Because she has a feeling. I always go trust that feeling. All right. Anyway, we got to go. Make it a great day. Cannot wait to see you, meet you in person, and get all the questions answered that I know this is going to bring up. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
We're here with Louise, and Louise, hi, how you doing?
Good. Just needed a sip of water right there.
No, it's all right. I got a bunch right here. Okay, look, you have a lot of things going on, but I understand you did something what people go, can it be done? Can it be done? Can it be done? And I say, yeah, it can be done. You have something that you brought to La Femme, and I'm going to say right now, good job. It's called Beautiful Strangers, and I understand in the description here, it says first-time filmmaker, no budget.
Yep.
How did you do it then?
I wrote the little script. It's a very simple movie. It said before, if you watched it, it's basically just a conversation. So in that sense, it was quite easy. It was, like I said, first time filmmaker, so I didn't really know a lot about it. I come from theater and music on stage as a performer, and decided to do the switch to write and direct instead. And I wrote this little piece, and I knew one cinematographer, and I called him up and said, can you film this? I have no idea how you do it, but please just show up on this day. And he agreed.
Well, that's smart. That's smart.
Yep.
Yeah, just do it. No, I'm just kidding.
Literally, I didn't know. I was like, I've never, like I said, from theater. So I was like, we usually go on the stage and have lights. I don't know what you do in film. So he just showed up, and we did it outside. So we used natural lighting, and he had like a little bounce board. He moved around. So because it was so simple, it was just two people sitting down and talking. It was, that's how we could do that, for no money. I literally just pulled in favors from people.
That's smart. How long is it?
It's 13 minutes.
Okay. And I'm glad you did that, because there's a lot of, and I'm glad you're bringing theater, because I have an idea about it, because I have a theater script that I'm actually working on. It's like right in the middle, maybe 3/4, you would say. No, it's about the halfway point, and it's got a lot of dialogue. I got to edit this, but it's a good way to work it out, right? And sometimes you go, okay, improv that, but if you have a script, you go, don't improv that. But sometimes, and I think this is true, they've tried it in so many ways, and it never works, because they try to do a live production / theater production. But I think in a way, if they did it, let me put it this way. Theater people love the fact that they could go from the very beginning all the way to the end without, having a cut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Were you able to accomplish that? Or did you go, wow, this is so much easier. I can remember lines so much easier,
No, actually, I rehearsed them as a play because it is one conversation. So I rehearsed the actors from beginning to end as if it was a short play. And then we filmed it. We filmed the singles and the wide. So we ran it several times and did a couple of inserts of a couple of close-ups and stuff like that. But that was pretty simple. That's what we did. But since then, I've done a few more short films and picking up a lot of skill and learning about filmmaking. So now it's getting a little more complicated than just two people at a table talking. But it was a really good start. I'm very, very happy about that little film.
Well, sometimes everything can happen in that moment. I've seen movies build around a very interesting conversation, and you're like, between some very powerful actors, you're like, take it, and you're like, whoa, and you'd even see it go in there, right? There's a couple that I think, and they're like, they really made it big because it's a conversation that you're like, I didn't even see it go in there, right? Or you don't know what's going to happen next. I remember there was a scene that takes place, I think it happened like in a cafe or a bank. I can't remember. And then they had the scene and it was like super big. You're like, oh, he's the guy holding up the whole everybody. And they're just waiting outside. And they start off that way. You go, that's not film. So, but I haven't seen it yet, but I say, good job. Bring the theater. Don't ever lose that. Because I think actors really do. I'll give you an example. I watched something with Gene Hackman, who is a theater guy.
Yeah.
And what's the other guy that we did something really good with? I can never remember his name. I need to. Anyway, he did a rehearsal, and they do this like behind the scenes before they actually do it. And it was so smart. And then they showed the many takes that they did, and they said they come at me with "you never know," and they just keep going. But I say have several cameras ready to go at different angles. Although that's hard with especially when you have. How'd you do it then with no budget?
Like I said, so I wrote this. I had a couple actors that I knew already, so I talked to them in town, local. I'm in Tucson, Arizona, and they agreed to do it for no money, just kind of as an experiment because it was my first film. So I'm very gracious of them. So we rehearsed it, in the house of one of the actors. We filmed it in the backyard of one of the actors' house, and property. And like I said, I had a friend show up who had all the gear, put some mics on them and filmed them. So it was like, 2 or 3 people on set and 2 actors in front of the camera. And then I did, like I said, I did a lot of rehearsal with the actors beforehand so that they were performing it like a play.
Okay, so let's go long. Is it a feature coming out soon? Like, because you got it.
This is not going to be a feature, though. I mean, that was an experiment. This little thing is not going to be a feature. But and I'm not working on features right now because I'm still new to the media. So learning skill set. I'm doing a lot of short films. I just in the middle of my 5th short film right now. And this Beautiful Strangers, we did that a year ago, kind of exactly almost. So I've been pretty busy, really learning and applying my skill set because I come as an actor and I've done a lot of theater and performance before. I'm applying that skill set to film now, and then I'm learning all the technical aspects of film. There's a lot to learn.
There is.
There really is. But
if you hire someone, and there is a way to do it, but you already have a good, like they would call you kind of like a person with a slate of like stuff. And you go, look, this is basically a test. If it because the good thing about theater, I've been in a theater thing when they were rehearsing, and they said, oh, let's change it, and the writer was right there, right? When you have a script, sometimes in certain theater you have to stick to the script, but when the writer's right there, he goes, oh, that didn't work, let me change that, and then the next draft comes out and they do that. There's a lot of shows that have done that. Friends is one of them, and there's a bunch that they go, oh, that didn't connect, let's change the wording, I have a better idea, let's try that, and then they do it again, and then all of a sudden it connects. I think you have that ability, so good job, keep it going. But I guess just, I love shorts, I do, but the money is with the film. So get that there, get it ready to go, and then say, hey, I have an idea on one of these where it can be, but I don't want to do it. You guys got to do it. They go, oh, we got the money for that because we were looking for ideas right now.
Oh, no, yeah, sure. I mean, the one that I've been working on right now, which is still shooting, when I was writing it, I realized, oh, this could actually be a feature. But now I'm making it a short, which is, again, a learning process. So eventually, hopefully, I will move over and do longer films.
Yeah, do
Right?
because
Yes.
yeah, because I've seen so many people stay with short, and I go, couldn't that be a feature? They go, yeah, but and then the years later, they are out on the street because they have no money. I go,
Right. Yeah. No, I definitely intend to. I would also really love to direct for TV. That would be a dream come true. So, episodes for TV shows.
Well, you're a good writer. Keep writing and keep acting. Okay.
Well, oh, thank you, sir.
All right. More right after this. We're here with Carolina, and Carolina, I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at this and I'm going, wait a minute. Whoa. This looks pretty amazing. And it's something, and I didn't even know this. I'm looking at it. This is a feature shot in Kenya and Italy. First of all, pretty cool traveling. Second of all, this is a first feature for like it looks good. Shapes of Africa. What's it about?
Hello, everybody. The movie it's about a quest of freedom, basically, of two women who are from different countries and different cultures. The first one is an Italian woman. She's a lawyer. She's Emma, and she decides to leave Italy and live her life just to try to find a new way to live, because she's not satisfied by her life in Italy, by her job, by her marriage, and so she decides to move to Africa, and there she gets in contact with an association involved in the protection of the local people and animals through her old friend, Fe. And in Kenya, also, she meets Nuri, who is a young local girl. And Nuri is from a very integralist family, a Muslim family. And Nuri, in a different way than Emma, is going to get an adventure, a way to find herself, to find the will to decide how to live. So Nuri is going to make a great decision for her life, like Emma. So she's going basically to leave her country, just to feeling at the end free to decide for her life, for herself. So this is the movie, and there is also a narrative line linked to the elephant poaching. So it is also a movie about, it's also an adventure movie in a way, because the association is working against the elephant poaching. So yeah, that's it.
No, I that's a lot. It's a lot, and you take a very big, and I saw that, and I said, whoa. Now, and I understand this is a first directing, so it's a directorial debut, right?
What? I'm sorry?
It's a directorial debut.
It's the first movie for us. You mean?
Yeah, exactly. So because I have here the list, unless it's wrong, but I have here it is literally first. Let's see, that's not it. Yeah, it's right there. It says
the first feature for us.
Yeah, first feature for both the direct. Oh, got it. But you've directed other things. Got it. Because I'm like, how could it look that good? I got it wrong. I got it. It's not a director debut unless you go, well, it is a full length. What have you done other than this? Because how did it get to the part, especially about poaching? It's such a serious subject.
Yeah, actually, because the movie is based on a movie, on a book. I'm sorry, a very popular book in Italy, written by Alessandra Soresina, and the book is also about the anti-poaching. Alessandra Soresina is a popular researcher, so she is very involved in the activities against the poaching in Africa. So when she wrote this book, basically she got together her own experiences, also about the protection of the local animals and people. So we decided to keep this part of the story, even if it's not so is not the focus of the movie, but in a way it is an occasion for mostly for Emma to know a different world, to know a very complicated situation, which was completely unknown for her. So it is also a way for Emma to get in touch for another time with the death. So there is a lot of death in this movie. And we try to use many symbols to represent death, and to trying to tell how you can get in touch with death in a different way. I mean, you can get in touch in a death like the physical death, but at the same time, you can also living like the end of your beliefs, of your normal point of views. So it's like destroy your personal beliefs, and trying to know something different, a different culture, different experiences, different people, different religions. Also, there is a lot of religions also in the movie. There is the sense of faith, also keeping the trust in something bigger than you. Nuri is strongly linked to her faith, and so it's we tried to make a provocation in a way to the audience, like, are you really sure that you are living the life that you really like? Are you really sure that you are free to decide for your own life? Or maybe you need to kill something in your life, or to know somehow the death of something in your life, just to change your point of view, and just to maybe to figure it out that you need making choices completely different, just to feel yourself deeply. I don't know if I.
It's a deep subject, but it's very simple. Elephants are very spiritual in a way. Some say it's a guide. Sometimes it's like, they use it as a totem. And sometimes they just say elephants make sense no matter what. But there's something very ethereal, or whatever word you want to use. There's something about elephants. And I'm glad you're approaching that, but you're doing it in a way that you go, it's also about the people going there, right? Well, therefore, it shapes Let me get the title right again. And again, we're talking to Carolina, who helped direct this, Shapes of Africa, which again is a feature. It looks good, by the way. It looks really good. And I'm like, you got so many candid moments, but it's about, look, there's more out there. And when you kind of experience that and you go, these things we talk about, but experiencing them firsthand is completely different than seeing it from afar. And then when you put yourself there, you go, whoa, there's something that I could do about it. And I go, whoa, so does this, I think this touches a lot of people when they see it, right?
Well, we decided to call the movie in the international environment Shapes of Africa, which is not the real translation of the Italian title, which should be Tell Me About Africa Tonight. But we decided to use Shapes of Africa because in a way we trying to tell of a country, but it could be any other country actually, that tell you that there are so many different realities in this country. I mean, there are lights and shadows. So there are beautiful things, but also very bad things. So there is corruption, there is poaching, there are so many problems that probably, if you haven't been there never in your life, probably you don't know. So we tried to make a presentation of Africa that could be different than the touristic vision, because Emma is not a tourist. So we try to give to the audience a vision of Africa, sometimes not so good. I mean, not the country of the dreams, the country of a beautiful vacation, but also something that can really impress you in a bad way. So the poaching is part of this country. There is a very bad situation. And so we decided that it was so important to keep this part of the story. We couldn't go deeply in this problem, because you probably should need a movie about this. So it's not the part really central of the movie, but at the same time we really felt important to tell people that there is poaching in Africa, and it's so important the job that many associations make in fighting this crime.
Well, and I'm glad you're doing it. I have seen a whole. It was a lot. And then actually, La Femme actually had something on the subject as well. I think maybe 3, 4, or 5 years back, and I said, "Whoa, very important." So if you team up with them, I think you're good to go. And they sold a lot, and they did a lot online. And I was like, "Whoa, that because people do want to support it." But you have a story, and I love the story, and I can't wait to see it. We're out of time, unfortunately, but thank you for bringing it to La Femme. Congratulations on all you're doing, and I cannot wait to see the next one, because this was really shot really well. So keep going, all right?
You're asking me if we're going on in directing something else?
No, I said we're out of time. I said keep going with what you're doing.
Oh, of course.
Awesome. Okay, we're out of time. We'll make it a great day. Keep going.
Of course we
all right.
do.
Do support Shapes of Africa. We have Allison Ramsey here with us. Allison, I'm not gonna lie. This is I saw something and I said, whoa, whoa, whoa. I'm not gonna say anything because I don't know. I haven't been there. My mother went through this. So it's called Menopause, the movie. And I love the description here. I have to read it. An experimental documentary searching for menopause in the archives. What does that mean?
Oh, Aaron, listen, let me tell you about it. Your mum should watch this because every woman who's been through menopause and every man who is around a woman in menopause needs to watch Menopause, the movie. Basically, it's an experimental film, a documentary film that uses something called found footage filmmaking techniques, which is looking at the archives, film archives from the last 70 years and exploring that to find traces of menopause in the past. And frankly, menopause has not really been covered as a topic. It's gone from being like a silent taboo to being a really hot topic in the last 5 years. And so the film kind of explores that by interviewing a range of women from very different backgrounds with different experiences of menopause and kind of looking at their experiences in context of what film and archive film has kind of expressed around menopause or hasn't expressed over the last 50 to 70 years.
I'm glad you said that. I literally, and I'm like, how are they going to do that? They said Menopause the musical. I said, okay, right. And then they did different versions of it. I saw a Latin version. I seen, but women are like, trust me, we know what it's like. And my mother always says, I feel hot. I go, maybe going through it again. Because sometimes it comes back, but people don't understand. And men, I guarantee you think you do, you do not. What happens, and it's different for everyone. It's not one size fits all, I think. But what is something you would say, oh, if?
Yeah. Well, I would say that what I'm interested in the film, and I've directed and produced this film as part of, not only is it a film that people will enjoy watching, but it's a piece of academic research for a PhD, which I'm completing at the moment. And what I found in my research and what I hope comes out in the movie, Menopause, the movie, is that everybody's experience of menopause is different. And I'm interested in that because, like you said, with your mum, a lot of people will get physical symptoms like hot flashes, and they will have brain fog, and they will have a range of physical symptoms that affect their daily life and how they get on at work and their caring commitments and their personal relationships. But also there's a lot of psychological elements to menopause around not feeling valued, not feeling like you're visible anymore in society. And so I'm really interested in the movie exploring how things like, it's not just about menopause, it's also about women in middle age and older, how they are treated in society and how menopause and the aging of women is kind of treated in society in general. And I'm kind of exploring themes about that because I think the two things are interlinked.
I think they are. And wow, I'm so glad you're going to school for this because you can say, I know something you don't. Okay. So I got so many questions. We have to have you back on this because I guarantee you're going to find stuff. Because growing up, all right. And trust me, I don't know how old I was when she first went through it, but I'm like, what's that about? And then I found out through other people. So I'm very understanding. It's called whatever you want, Ma, whatever you want. Right. And if you're a man in somebody's life, you say, whatever you need. I didn't know, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't remember my mother, but like I say, everybody's different. I don't think she went through the psychological part you said. She just went through a lot of it. She would say it, I get angry really fast.
Oh, yeah.
And I go, yeah, that makes sense. But then I still don't understand the heat part, but I kind of have a theory. But my theory, I'm gonna back up with something about biology, and somehow in women, and some go through it early, some go through it late, and some go through it again and again and again. Sometimes I ask my mom, how come you do that? And she says, I don't know. And I go, why if you go through it again? Because she constantly, like in the middle of like a conversation, it's so hot in here. I'm like, it's 60 degrees. How can you be hot? And she's like, I don't give her age, but she's technically past. So she goes, I don't have menopause. Why would I have menopause? I go, all right, I got questions on that. How do you know through what you've done, like how long you go through menopause? How many years?
Yeah, it's a good question, Aaron, because I think really that it can last up to 15 years, the effects and the symptoms. And so women can, it really ranges. I've interviewed a lot of women for this project, for the movie. And for some women, they pass through menopause without too many problems. They don't have the physical symptoms like you're describing for your mum and for other people's, family members or friends or themselves. Some people don't go through any troublesome difficulty at all. It's just I guess a life stage. It's a hormonal stage like we go through in puberty, right? It's a kind of the same thing is happening, but in reverse. But for some people, it's a really serious, it causes them a lot of psychological distress, a lot of anxiety, depression. It can go from something where people don't really experience very much at all to something that's incredibly intensely difficult for them. And kind of there's a big debate at the moment, Aaron, about whether it's a pathology. Is it an illness? Is it something that is an estrogen deficiency? So is it something that we need to be kind of like treating like any illness would be treated? Or on the other side of the argument, a lot of people are saying, well, actually, it's just a natural stage of life. It's connected with aging. It's connected with maybe getting more in touch with who we are. And maybe that anger, like you were talking about with your mom, if she's feeling furious, maybe that's a good thing for women to be able to get to a later part of life where they go, I don't have to be nice to everybody anymore. People are going to listen to me rather than me helping everybody else. So it's kind of complicated. And that's what I find so interesting as a subject to research, as an academic researcher, but also as a documentary filmmaker, which is what I do for a living, to bring those two things together in Menopause the Movie.
I have so many questions. Women are not ready for this, and I say this because I say this. And I said this to men. I always say this to men. At some point, okay, because people go, and they look at Instagram, they look at social media, and they go, "You see that woman?" I go, "Yeah," but remember, at some point, they're going to do it, especially if you cheat. That's when a woman should stand up, because women at a young age go, that's fine, that's fine, that's fine. It finally comes out. Now, as a son to my mother, okay, normally she would take a joke and we'd run with it.
Yeah.
But when all of a sudden it was like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's like, Mom, normally you would joke about that. Well, it's not funny. And then I go, my mind, I want to be a psychologist, but I go, maybe something else is triggering that, because that joke normally would work, but in a moment you go, so, and I have a question about that, because I dated someone, and there's a prelude. You said something earlier about it doesn't show up all the time, but it does. There was a moment, you and my mother were talking about this, because we're going back to her work. Her work took advantage of her. She was a lot of stress, we'll put it that. And she said, and she's very open about it, she said, I had a breakdown. Okay. Yeah. It was stress related work. And then she had to leave because there was so much stress. And if you saw how much she was put under, but I go, that is the part where you go, yeah, you should research that more, because they do say it's natural, but I say it's also in this. In some women, they have it less, and some women, they have more. Now, I did date someone, okay? And the person that I dated, she started to have little things that I think even she was confused. Why am I acting this way? And I'm like, I don't know. Because I have a sister who has special needs. I have a father who has, when people talk about wellness, they talk about things. And then my mother, she has a lot, but she had everything handed her, and she was the breadwinner for the family. Okay. So picture that. She's making all the money. She has to put food on the table, but there was a prelude. And you said depression is related to it. I never thought depression was related to menopause. I didn't know that. But I remember a moment, and she took a picture, and her eyes are dim. She looks so beautiful. She's like, I'm like, Ma, you're so beautiful in that picture. She's like, whatever. I go, what was happening during that time? And her eyes are like dull. And I'm like, she went through depression during that time. And then that was around the time she started menopausal type symptoms. But people would say, no, I disagree with that. I go, no, you don't get it. It's related to depression. I didn't know that. Can you help me?
Yeah. No, it's true. I think the number one for the women I interviewed for Menopause the Movie, and for a lot of the research I did before I started recording my interviews, anxiety is a massive thing. I have somebody in the movie who I interviewed who said she'd never had a moment's anxiety in her life. She is a go-getting, has had an amazing corporate career, running a company, and all of a sudden the onset of menopause symptoms for her was total anxiety. She said, I couldn't even, I got anxious if I was running out of milk. It was just like a complete personality change. And I think what you're describing that your mum experienced, and that, other friends that you have had who've experienced it, there is a hormonal change, there's a bodily change. And also it's kind of like an existential moment in your life, I think, where you start questioning everything about who you are. And some people can really be very affected into almost like a personality change, but it's around hormone change. It's around a change of life. It's, you know, there's all sorts of different elements. Come watch the movie, Aaron.
I am.
Come watch the movie at the festival. Come and meet me, because I'm coming all the way from London to come to the festival, and I can't wait. Well, I'm honoured to have a screening there. Come watch it, and you'll find some of the answers that you're looking for in the movie, I hope.
Yeah, do women sometimes, because I take her to these shows, that's not me. That's not me. I go, Mom, you don't remember from my perspective as a kid. I was like, what do I do? I was just like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But I was like, later I go, what was the trigger? And there's a moment you go, I don't know what the trigger was, you know? And then sometimes you go, maybe it was that. And was it that? And then she did get things. So she got diagnosed with something else. But I go, does it happen again and again? You said something earlier. I didn't know this. It could last 15, maybe 20 years, maybe.
15 years.
Wow. Okay. And I think that's a question people go, because she's been having like really hot moments. And I go, Ma, it's cold in here. She goes, I'm hot. I'm burning up. And I'm like, you're at an age. I thought it stopped. Okay. And I don't want to give her age, but anyway, so long story short, we'll meet, we'll talk. And I just want this out there because everyone needs to understand. I say this, and I say this to children. Okay. It's not your fault. Okay. Because I've seen this with other kids with sometimes their mother. And I go, just let her have whatever she wants. Okay. You are wrong all the time. Okay. And then it'll go better. But sometimes some people never get help. My mother did finally say, you know what, anytime you say I'm not, you know, a certain way, I'm going to listen. I said, thank you, Ma. Thank you. So she trusts me. And sometimes she tells me ahead of time, I feel like I'm going that way. I go, Ma. And then, so I feel like a caretaker, not going to lie, but I think people need to talk about this. Okay.
I agree. And I think in the UK, one of the things I've been looking at that's in the film is, there's a big kind of grassroots activism movement that started up about 2015-16, where people said, a group of women said, you know, we need to get more information out there. And what you're saying about children, for example, there's a great grassroots activist campaign called Make Menopause Matter in the UK, where I live, that has campaigned to get doctors to have better training when they're training to do their medical degree in menopause, because in the UK you can only do it for you could choose to just do half a day on menopause. You think it affects more than half the population. They should be learning about it in medical school. There's also a campaign to get it onto the curriculum in schools, which it's now part of, so that kids can know, they have an understanding of what happens with women and what menopause is, and so they're better prepared, and they can understand when it happens in their family or with people around them, and they can support women. And also there's a lot of work in the UK about getting menopause, people with going through menopause, supported in the workplace, because you're right, like when your mum, you know, women are often the breadwinner, or they're working, they've got pressures, and work, it becomes very difficult for them to work because you get a lot of sleeplessness, you get all sorts of different symptoms that can affect you, that can affect your ability to earn money, keep a roof over your family's head. So there are kind of lots of things going on, particularly in the UK, that are trying to address all of those things: education, supporting women at work, and also getting doctors to really understand and to be able to offer women support, but also hormone therapy if they require it and they want that, or, you know, other things, and understanding that it's a big, you know, it's a significant thing that affects half the population, and we need to deal with it and talk about it openly.
Yes, sometimes, and I've seen it in like, because we cover, you know, entertainment, whatever. But the point is, sometimes you say, what happened there? And I go, you don't get it. They call it the change of life. Some call it a biology, but I say there's no test that can really determine whether you're going through it. You just know certain things happen at a certain time. And women that have gone through it know, but sometimes they don't talk to the generation of the new going, get ready for it. It's going to happen. But sometimes it rears its head when you don't like, and I think that's why my ex and I didn't, well, I don't know. I think it was a little bit of something, but she did a lot of things. She goes, that's not me. That's not me. And I said, yeah, but there, and men do it too, but they call it something different. They coined it something. I have a guy who has a theory about that, because there's something that happens at the age of, I don't know what the age is, I would say around 40 to 50, and there's a change that happens. And sometimes it's not for good. Guys leave their wives of long around that time. They go through this change. Women go through a different change. They don't do that. Some do, actually. They go for young. My God. But, you know, probably you push them, you push that button. But some women do a change right there. And then, like you said, when everything is stressful, no one knows how to back off or say, you know, we're going to give you what you need. They didn't do that. And so she said, fine, I'm out. And she had to leave. It was a stress leave situation. So it became a lot, but it impacted the family in a really big way. She said, no, it did. I say, yes, it did. Yes, it did. I was scared for my life. But the point is, you got to be careful. And I don't know. Is there something that happens with the brain? Could they take an MRI, or is that too much? Like, because I think the physiology, something changes.
There's a lot of research about how the brain may be affected. Memory is definitely affected. All sorts of symptoms. I mean, I think there's about 40 something symptoms, and I look at this in the movie, and I kind of there's a whole section looking at kind of different symptoms and how people experience different symptoms. But I think I think there's been a real turn. There's been a real change in the last 5 years, in particular, where people are talking about it more openly. It's probably to do with social media. It's probably to do with the fact that 20 years ago, people weren't able to share their stories and find other people who are suffering. People suffered in silence, right? And women in particular, I think, suffer in silence. Women's health problems have been, kind of, have been, you kind of be stoic and you put up with it. And I think that there's been a change and a turn, partly because people are more open and sharing things on social media. There's been a lot of more documentaries and TV dramas and comedies that have focused on menopause to make it more open. And I'm kind of interested in my research, and also in Menopause, the movie. I'm looking at how that manifests itself, how something that started off as a whisper, my mother's generation, my parents' generation, people did not talk about menopause openly at all. And so you go from in the space of the last 20 years, you've gone from it not being really talked about a lot to being everywhere over the media. And I'm really interested in that. And that's kind of one of the focuses in Menopause, the movie. So I hope you're going to come and see it, Aaron. And it'll help you understand a lot of what's been going on.
I will. I'm weird that they don't talk about it. Sorry, that's all your mother's, just so you know. All right. Thank you very much, Allison. We're out of time, but we cannot wait to see it.
Thanks for having me. Bye.
Bye.
In the beginning, all films were short.
It's not a charity. We're not here to help you. We're not here to help your cause. We're there to make our money make money.
It probably takes a year to 2 years to really start seeing money.
That title of executive producer on a feature is not the same as the title of executive producer on a television show.
Don't give yourself a bad review before you start.
I'm sorry, I'm super awesome, and this is my pitch.
We're here with Claudia. Claudia, you got something going on there. I love that you have it right there. The Santa Fe interment story, community and conflict. Claudia, what's that about?
Well, I saw you several years ago. I did a Bitter Legacy.
I remember.
Yes. And so that was about the incarceration camps in which my parents were and my family were incarcerated. But the very first person to be arrested was a Buddhist priest in Hawaii before martial law was even declared. And so I went on a whole discovery about, well, where did they put these in different camps, these Issei, these people who are not allowed, like Asian American, Chinese were not allowed to become American citizens. So therefore they were aliens. So these Asian aliens were picked up even before martial law was declared in Hawaii. And they were Buddhist. They happened to be Buddhist priests because it was considered un-American to be Buddhist.
Yeah.
Sound familiar?
Yeah, well, I remember us meeting the first time. I said, you have a story that I go, wow. And now you did this. I think you got distribution for that, didn't you?
I did, yes. Yeah. It's on my website, A Bitter Legacy. You can watch it for free, or you can, I don't make money on these documentaries, obviously.
I know you do so much time and effort in it. We got to have.
I want some people, when I do screenings, I ask people, how many people in the audience learned something they didn't know before they saw my film? And almost all hands go up. So that to me is motivation.
Yeah, and you do it right, Claudia. And I will say, I get so many things that get thrown my way, and I'm like, oh my God, it's feature length. I do not have time because it's hard to put all these together. So I say, get a pass for the whole festival. But this, and I think that time we only did it on location. Leslie did something the last few years, really because of the pandemic. She said, look, let's do it so everyone has access. So now everyone has access to watch this. And I love that they can via the link, Eventive. And that's where I think people need to go right now. They need to go and get it. The name of it again is, because I think I botched it up. So sorry.
It's called Community and Conflict. Yes.
Yeah, that's the one. So look for that, and then you'll see it, and then support. Now, Claudia, a lot of people have questions usually, and they have it way at the end once they see it? What's the question that you get all the time that you go, maybe I should do that in a future film, you know?
Well, I was exploring these internment camps. These are the real internment camps where the alien people were sent, and there were dozens. There, not just the 10 like incarceration camps, but these were. So there were 4 in New Mexico, of which Santa Fe was one. So I've been doing my next film about those real internment camps. I call it Exiled. And when I went to New Mexico, and I discovered that there was one in Santa Fe, and I said, where was it? And I went to go look for it, and of course, there's a community built on top of where the actual internment camp was. And so I said, well, and I just dug deeper and met a lot of people involved in the community. And so people in the Japanese American community go on pilgrimages, as you know, and the Manzanar pilgrimage is one of the more popular ones. It was actually the very first incarceration camp. And so I discovered there was this whole story going on about about the Santa Fe making a monument, because they built this town on top of where their former site was. People said they wanted to, because their father was interned in Santa Fe, they wanted to go basically on a pilgrimage to that site. They go, well, we built a town over it. So how about we put a monument, just at least, say that there was an internment camp in Santa Fe. It doesn't have to be on the actual site, but how about we do that? Well, the community went into, they met a lot of resistance. And so I explored that resistance and what it took, in that conflict to resolve it.
Well, and again, this happened during World War II, which right now, I'm not going to lie, the everybody's paying attention to the world scene, and now Russia's back. Everybody that basically had it. Some would say Russia wasn't in it, but we entered the Cold War for a reason. And you say, could it go back to that? And you have something there that I go, it in a way kind of is, because let's go with like the obvious. We have Ukraine, right? And people go, well, that was a long time ago. I go, you don't get it, man. It can happen at any moment, or it's happening right now. We don't even know it. There's information coming out about, World War II around this time, where certain people actually knew it was a thing, but they didn't do anything about it. They talked about the Vatican, and I said, that's interesting. But a lot of people are getting the information out, but they don't understand that it's needed right now, because right now, if you look at the news, they go war, right? And it says Middle East. I go war, Russia, war, like, Korea sent a missile over Japan. Now Japan is trying to make something with the US, but the question is, at the end of the day, what should we learn from this? What is it that you think one's watching should want to be, I guess, aware of, so that they don't do that again? Or
I get what you're saying. I mean, what's the relevance to today? And the fact that it was in conflict, and the world is in conflict now, as we know. And what diplomats do all over the world is try to have dialogue with each other. What do your people really want? What's going on here? What do you need the world to understand? And it's through dialogue, where we can all see each other as people. We all want the same thing. We want a roof over our heads. We want safety. We want food. We'd like our kids to be able to have an education. We all want the same thing. And anytime you can have a dialogue where people can maybe share some of that, personal story, maybe we would avoid a lot of this conflict. We all want, if we were able to, like in a family, you share a meal. Well, why can't we share food, land, resources? And we all have bullies in our schools. Well, what happens to bullies? Right now, Russia is a bully. They're trying to take over Ukraine. Israel and the Palestinian conflict has been going on for centuries. And, we have to keep the dialogue going and keep the bullies like Saudi Arabia, Iran, out of that conflict, and let the people who live there. There was beginning to be some tough peace in Israel, but Saudi Arabia got involved with Iran, and now you have a war going on again. So I think there is relevance, by talking about the Santa Fe internment camp story, just to make a monument in the conflict that ensued. And understandably, I thought, well, what's the big deal? Why can't they just put a monument there? Well, as I explored in the movie and talked to people who were involved, there are people who formed a committee. So let's make a monument. And then you can't call it a monument. And I realized that, there is a whole history of the baton. There are a lot of veterans in New Mexico. And unfortunately, a lot of them were in the Bataan Death March in the Philippines.
Well, and everybody's talking about it now, and I saw it, love it. Going to be a Oscar Oppenheimer, right? Now everybody's talking about the atomic bomb, right? You go, hello, World War, So, but yeah, I got questions. I know we're out of time, but I will say this: do you think this will happen in the U.S. anytime soon? Do you think that we can go there? Because sometimes people don't understand if this happened in New Mexico, in the U.S. It may not have been as bad as around the world. We didn't put people in gas chambers, thank God. But when you sequester people because there's a war going on, you go, would I be next?
4,555 men were in this one camp.
Yeah.
4,500. And one of the people I interviewed who was, Hispanic said, what if it happened to our community? If the war broke out in Mexico, would they do this to our family? The parallels are kind of obvious. I mean, it just takes one big conflict, and you could say, oh well, let's get rid of all the Muslims, let's get rid of all the Mexicans, let's get rid of all the I mean, every culture. I mean, this country is a country of immigrants. The Irish experienced prejudice when they first came. The Italians. Everybody has met that prejudice and that resistance. And I think what's going on in America is that there's a lot of fear. There's a lot of fear because the white majority are no longer going to be the majority. This is a country of, so many ethnicities. And rather than just stay in fear, maybe we talk to each other.
I think everybody needs to talk, and whenever war breaks out, and I say this, if war broke out between, and people go, no, it's not going to happen. I say, watch the news. Seriously, Russia. Okay. I say, watch Russia, and then people go, well, I don't want to pay attention. I go, you don't get it, man. Russia's at war. But they go, well, we're not at war. I go, you're at war. We are supporting so many countries that at some point it's going to happen. Now, if Russia said, then if you're Russian, would you be locked up like they were in Santa Fe? The answer, I don't know. But did they learn anything from it? Because it really doesn't work, because a lot of people had their property taken as well during that. I know people that went through that. And I go, can we go there again? Because everybody's going back to, I say, the community of mind of World War I and World War II again. It's almost like, did we not learn anything from that time? And I feel that we haven't. So I know we're out of time. This is a long discussion. We have a lot of people that we got to interview, but where can we see it? It's all at La Femme. It's a very interesting discussion. La Femme covers it. And what day do you have?
What is that? It's on the 22nd. What is that? Sunday.
Okay.
And I guess you have to check the website to get the latest time, but it is virtual. And so I have a couple of people who are in. One of my main stars is not able to come to the film festival or to see it, so he can watch it. I'm going to show it in Santa Fe the day before.
Oh wow! Oh my God!
The Santa Fe International Film Festival and so on. So
you're all over. Well, I'm glad you're here with us. Thank you. And remember, they can click on Eventive to watch. Okay, I'm going to show that right there. Everybody's talking about other festivals. You're in La Femme. Seriously.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
it's all right. But click on the link. Seriously, you can watch that from anywhere.
I'm very honored to be included in
Thank you. Yeah.
And to be interviewed by you once again.
Well, it's good to have you back, and good to see you after all these years.
Doing,
oh, thank you.
Bravo.
All right.
Bravo.
More after this. Stay tuned.
Okay. Bye.
We're here with Sammy, Mia, Bonnie, and you guys did something. I'm not going to lie. I'm looking at this. I said, what? What's this about? It's an animated short documentary breaking taboos around leaks and lumps after childbirth. It's called Why Mums Don't Jump. Talk to me about this. What is this?
So it's actually it's called Why Mums Don't Jump because that's what the person who created the website and Instagram account and now book, that's the name that she decided to go with, Helen Ledwick. And it's basically all about breaking taboos around post-childbirth and, post-childbirth and prolapses, that's it, and like urinary incontinence and that kind of thing. So it's like, why don't mums jump? Oh, because they're gonna leak.
I'm not gonna lie, man. I should not talk about my mom. She literally talked about this. She goes, "You know, it happens." I go, "I did not know that." Anyway, Sammy, Mia, what do you have to say about it?
Yeah. So, essentially, what happened with that was we were given a brief by Helen of making a little animation
to help raise more awareness both for her podcast and for the mental health and like physical health of these women after both childbirth and just in general, because a lot of women suffer their pelvic health issues but feel a lot of stress talking about it because it's something that you don't really like to talk about because, you know, it's like you're down here. It's it's not very pleasant sometimes.
It was an uncomfortable conversation. I said, "Ma, you never know." She goes, "I'm not doing that. Okay, stop it." And she goes, "Do you know I am right now?" You go, "Ma, I don't want to talk about it." So I take her everywhere, right? And I have to hear it all. So it's like, but anyway, it's not about me. And oddly enough, it's about my mom. I hope she's not watching. Anyway, look, you guys pulled this together. Good job. And I'll say this. People go, "Why an animated though?" And how long did that take?
So it took. Oops, sorry.
So we started around September, just at the very beginning of our module. And originally the hand-in was around December time, but we were carried over until February just to make sure that we got everything all sorted. And yeah, so good couple of months. 6, I believe? No, not 6.
No, it's more like, well, it was more like 4 months for the main animation, and then there was a lot of like follow-up with making sure that the quality was right. So I suppose around like 6 months is about right.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
A full team of 6 of us.
Okay, and then Bonnie, you got tied. Like how did you all meet?
So basically we're all on a course at Falmouth University doing animation, hence the animation.
Got it.
And it was, I remember we watched the pictures because we got 3 different pictures from different companies and stuff, all independent. And I remember I watched Helen's and I sat there like, I don't care what I do. I don't care. I have to do Helen's film. I don't care what media I'm working in. I'm working on Helen's film. And so I went out of the room, like went up to a group of people and I was like, do you guys want to work on Why Mums Don't Jump? And they were like, yeah. And I was like, cool. Wait, so what animation style are we doing again?
Yeah. Well, what happened was, I think it was me and a couple of friends who I knew because we'd worked on a previous project and we were all 2D animators. So we were kind of like all forming a group of like 2D stuff. And then Bonnie came up to us and was just like, "What are you guys doing?" And it was like, "Oh, 2D animation." It was like, "Why Mums Don't Jump?" Yeah. Cool, can I join? Essentially. That's kind of like how it started. And oddly enough, like even though it was very kind of like in the moment, all of us just coming together and being like, yeah, that's exactly what I want to work on. Let's do that. We're oddly like still a very strong team and like very still like it's been a really wonderful experience to work on because I feel like we've made like some proper really good bonds on this like entire project that I don't think like I don't know. It's been a wild journey and it's all been like really fun to like go through, essentially.
When it opens a discussion that I'm not gonna lie, like I seriously had this conversation weeks ago, and I'm like, I need to know this because she did say something about child. She says, you know, sometimes the body is different after, and I go, okay. And then I'm like, Ma, you're my mother. I don't want to know that because then she talks about, you know, you and your father. I'm like, no, I don't want to know. I don't want to know that moment, right? There's something about that. I go, just don't. And then she keeps going. Yeah. Please stop. But people need to talk about this because it is a thing. Very like with the animation. So I'm so glad. And Bonnie, you seriously, I think the fact that you like were like, we got to do this, and then you guys, Sammy, Mia, you guys are like, we got to make this happen. I think if anything, you go full like because I think sometimes, and I'm not gonna lie, sometimes people look at youth and they go, how are they going to do anything? Then you look at the finished result, you go, dude, they finish it. And that's what I say La Femme is about. La Femme is about everyone that go and they actually do something with their time. They don't sit there just talking about it. You guys do it. So good job.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was so determined. Sorry, I was so determined to get onto this project that because we didn't actually get to choose what project we did, and I remember I was like, if this group doesn't get onto the project, I'm just gonna change groups and make sure that I'm doing Why Mums Don't Jump, because it's like actually a personal issue for me, and it's also my sister around this time last year had her first baby, and it was such a prevalent just topic of discussion within my family that it was like, I have to be on this film. And it felt so special for me getting to have personal like contact with Helen, because I was our main contact with her. And it was so nice getting to receive all the feedback and stuff like that, and sending over character designs and her loving them. And it was like, I'm so glad I get to bring your creation into a new type of media that can be shared with so many people in so many different ways.
Well, I think you guys got a future. Keep it going. I wish we had more time, but keep it going. And thank you for bringing it to La Femme. And I hope your next, whatever you do, you bring it as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll see you next time. We're here with Caroline, and Caroline, look, I understand you got something here. It's called Broken Waters. I will read the description, though, because I got a question on this. It's a bilingual drama, 20 years in the making. What does that mean?
Hi, yes. So, well, it means that the original version has two languages, French and English. And the fact that it has been 20 years in the making is because that's when I signed my first contract with my first screenwriter, and I looked it up the other day, and it's dated 2003. So that's how I came up with that.
Isn't that weird? I wrote something when I was like around a teenager. I lost it. It was in a laptop. It's probably somewhere. And I thought about it the other day. I go, I wonder if it could be something, because now I'm working with like, scripts and stuff and stories. And I go, but sometimes people don't understand what that means, because you go, well, in between a lot happened. What? And I say this, it's very interesting, because somebody said to me, they said, I'm here, but I'm here because of a certain thing that happened. And I said, that's interesting. What would have happened if it didn't happen? So was there something that could have blocked it from happening? Because I talk about that. I go, why do you guys not, for example, we have someone that we have on the show, ABC, and she's a musician, and she went back years, right? Maybe about the same amount of years. And she revisited a song, and she did a different beat with a new person. And now it's made like millions of views overnight, really. And I'm like, that's interesting. That's interesting. So does that happen? Do you have other scripts that you're like, I could do this too?
I've been consumed by this project and only this project for this entire time. I was listening to your previous guests, and it's similar in the sense that I was just determined to tell this story and to use the cultural backdrop that I did for this one, because it had never been done before. So Canada is officially a bilingual country. It has two official languages, French and English. And so a lot of us live in a bilingual environment, and you would think that it would be a no-brainer to make a French-English film. But as far as the institutions are concerned, institutions that fund the arts, it's very dichotomous. And so they just couldn't wrap their heads around a script that had two languages in them at that time. Things are changing. Luckily, it's too late for me for this project anyway. But listen, I had a producer tell me 20 years ago, oh, just pick a language and stick to it. Because she knew that it was going to be hard. And I felt the wind drop from my sails when I heard that, and that's when I knew I was going to make this film a bilingual film representing the community that I belong to, and or no film at all.
Well, and I love it because Netflix does that now. And they I'll give you an example. My mother speaks Spanish and English, right? But she had to learn Spanish. It's not her first language. And so she's been enjoying things on Netflix because they subtitle it. But sometimes I'm like, I do not understand because I don't know a word of Spanish, right? And people go, how come you don't know Spanish? I mean, look at your name. I go, sorry, I didn't, but I do say this, it makes you smart. I tried something I had never done. And I said, okay, let's watch it in this language, but let's read it in this language. And there was something that happened. I'm not going to lie. It was, I think if people do that, just subtitle it and then it goes everywhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And, when the filmmaker from Parasite was up on the Oscar stage, he said something that felt so true to me, which was, if you can just get over subtitles, a whole new world is going to open up to you. And it's true. Now, mind you, for my film, it's not about the fact that it's bilingual. That's just the cultural backdrop. But the story is not about that. It's about a bond that forms between these two women, a psychiatrist and her patient, in the early 80s in Ottawa's capital.
Okay, that I get that now. So, okay, because somebody said something earlier, and I wanted to say your title is better than the one that we have, because it says the translation doesn't do it justice, and I go, that makes sense. What is it in French? It's in English, obviously, Broken Waters, but in French, what's it called, and what does it really mean?
Right. Well, as is often the case, some certain expressions in one language don't directly translate into the other. So the term broken waters in English works in that it's an allusion to women and childbirth. And, the term broken can suggest that it's something traumatic to do with being a mother or having or not having children. There isn't a good literal translation in French. And so the title, Brise Glace, which if I was to translate literally would mean breaker ice, so icebreaker. And the allusion there is that the main character, who's the psychiatrist, she's really having to break a lot of things to get to what she wants to achieve. So we're looking at the early 80s. There's no maternity leave. It's a male-dominated world, the world of psychiatry. So she's having to break through a lot of obstacles to do what she wants to try, which is actually use a novel approach for the time, which is psychotherapy, which of course now is accepted and has been shown to be effective in treating mental illness. But in the early 80s, it was not. It was just starting, and it was seen as a bit quacky. Is that the word?
Wacky. Yeah, I get that.
And so she's that. So it alludes to a different aspect of the film in terms of her struggles as a woman in the early 80s, dealing with male-dominated workplace.
Yeah, what is it about the male that just like ruins everything? Okay. Anyway, look, keep it going, keep doing, and keep making it happen. Good job on this. I can't wait to see it. It's called Broken Waters. What did you say it was in French?
Brise Glace.
Brise Glace. Okay.
You got it.
Icebreaker, and it made me think of like a submarine like story, and I want to do that now. Icebreaker. It's a good title, right?
Right. Well, I hope to meet you perhaps during the festival. The film is on Sunday, October 22nd. I'm thrilled to be part of it. I'm humbled, and I'm very excited. And I'll be there in person along with the lead actress. So Yeah.
Yay, can't wait. Okay, well, we'll definitely meet you all. All right, we'll see you. And make sure to, let's bring up the link real quick because we need you guys to support. It's right there. If you cannot make it in person, which you really should, seriously, it's amazing. LA Live is so amazing. Eventive is as well, but you can watch from anywhere. You can literally get that right now and then be ready to go. And then you can participate from anywhere. So go click on the link right there. Type it in lafemme.eventive.org/films. You'll get all the stuff, including Caroline's, which is really amazing. It's called Broken Waters. Go check for that. Okay, thank you, Caroline, for spending time with us.
Thank you very much, Aaron.
All right, more after this. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so excited, and here's why. I saw this. It was a trailer. Yesterday people got a little upset. They're like, "How did you not know my story?" I go, "I'm so sorry." Like I roll multiple hats. Okay, I roll multiple hats. I'm producing, I'm writing, and we have a team. But you did something on this. It's called Pivot. Okay. And I have questions on this because you guys you're gonna go next level. I guarantee it. There are so many people that go animation, animation, animation. What is so amazing about animation? I go, well, it goes ever. It stays ever. Now, I know these are like short. I get it. How long is this particular? I'm sorry. I have Anna and Robin here with us. Robin, you're a creator. Oh, I love the fact that you have little. I know that's not Yoda, but I guarantee that's like a brother or a sister or a cousin of him. Yeah. So Anna, Robin, what's this about?
So our short film, like I said, is called Pivot. Is a short film telling the story about our main character, Ashley. She is turning 12 and she no longer wants to wear the very flirty dresses that her mom gives her every year. So now this is the year that she wants to tell her mom and get the courage to tell her mom that she doesn't want to wear them anymore. So she's working throughout her feelings. And because of that, she gets a bit of anxiety and her dress impersonates some of those feelings. So like working with animation, it allows us to make that dress become something a little bit more than just a dress, right? So that's the beauty of being able to do this story in animation.
Yeah, and we just had a joining Cindy as well. Okay, so we're in the middle of talking about Pivot, and you have a poster behind you. Not gonna lie, I want to see it.
Yes.
Right.
I'm gonna bring it down. Let's see.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because it's kind of there you go. I'm going to just show it because it's kind of pivotal to the whole thing. Look at that. How can you not want to see that? I know the kids are like, I want to see that. Okay, I need to see that. Right? Tell me I'm right.
Yes. And this beautiful art is created by Cindy. Oh, there. Well. Sorry, it's alive. You see, that's the power of animation. So this beautiful art is created by Cindy Xiang, who's our art director, and our beautiful story was created by Robin, who's with us here today. That's why all of us are here. And we believe that the visuals are really enchanting on this film. So we hope everyone comes and see it.
Yeah, I guarantee that's kids right now. They go, "That's me." They just don't know how important I am at some point, right? Look, Robin, you're here with us. You guys, I love the design that you have behind you. How did you guys all meet? Because this is something that I go, okay, you guys need money to make it a feature. How long is it?
7 minutes.
Yeah. So it needs to be a feature. How do we make it a feature?
Good question. We originally made the film with Women in Animation through their Career Accelerator program. We were all mid-level in our career in animation and were elevated to be leaders for this film. So it is all created by female-led teams. And we actually own the rights to the film. So we can make it into a feature if there's someone out there who wants to make it into a feature with us.
Yeah, I love it. And I mean, look at that graphic and tell me that's, and I have a question. Is it like, okay, how did it come to you as a project when I say that, I mean, sometimes, I don't know, is there a writer in the room that wrote this?
I did.
Okay. Oh, there it is. Okay. So when you write it, obviously you get people. Did you know it was going to be an animated short? And did you know it was going to come to La Femme? Did you know it was going to do the festival route? Did you know that, or did you just go, let's do something really cool? Because I know she has a longer story. Sometimes they do a short story, but I go, what if you put this in the middle and that in the middle? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I actually wrote it specifically for the program to be created by an all-female led team. And so in looking at women in animation, I just started looking at what are teen girls and tween girls facing right now. And apparently it's kind of the same thing that's been going on throughout history, just like with a different flavor, is women being objectified. And it starts very young. And a lot of girls talked about how they're put into boxes from a very young age of expectations of them. And this reminded me of a situation that I witnessed from a very young age, which is one of my very good friends. From the time we were in preschool together, her mom would make her wear these very frilly dresses for every birthday, Christmas concert, any kind of picture day. And she absolutely hated it. And she would lose her mind trying to fight off her mom forcing her to wear it. And yet she always ended up wearing it through bribes or whatever. She would lose that battle, which is the very physical story that you'll see in Pivot. But there is a secondary emotional story, which is more so my emotional story about feeling like I didn't fit into my family or the place that I grew up, being queer and always wanting to be a writer, but growing up in a place in the middle of Saskatchewan in Canada, in the middle of nowhere. I didn't know any queer people and I didn't know anyone who was a writer. And so these two things that combined to create who I am were things that I felt like I had to hide, which is really the emotional story that you see in Pivot is my own, except for Ashley finds the courage to stand up for herself at a young age, where it took me a lot longer to find myself.
Well, thank you for writing it. And by the way, I got to say, again, the type of animation, did you know it was going to be that?
I thought that it would probably be 2D, but that really became clear, I think, when Cindy was brought onto the project.
And Cindy, great job, by the way. My God, I look at that and I go,
Oh,
so
thank
many
you.
kids can identify with that face. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Her big eyes, right? Like Cindy's art style is so specific. You can tell us a bit more about how you created it, Cindy.
Yeah, so I think I drew a lot of inspiration just from reading Robin's script and embodying like the feelings that her character had and the story she was trying to tell. And I went into it without really having any limits to like what I could do with it. So I, in a way, followed my own feelings and my heart and just decided on this style that really spoke to me. And fortunately, I think the rest of the team and Anna loved it as well. So we reached this kind of very fun and quirky look, but it's also a little scary. When you watch the film, you'll see that there's funny things that happen with the stress that she's been forced to put into.
Well, I love that you're doing it, and you could do like that animation. I guarantee you're going to see in like books, you're going to see in stories. It takes off. So keep it going, keep doing. People, I don't know why I keep hearing this. They go, well, 3D is a thing. I go, 2D is still a thing. Look at all the animes. Netflix has taken so many animes. Could this be a thing? Maybe I don't know about. Maybe I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. So and Robin, like the way you talked about it, it seems it's a very serious subject. But who do you see maybe taking this down the line?
What do you mean by taking this? Like where it'll end up being viewed?
That way everyone can watch it.
Yeah. So, I mean, we would love for it to be on something globally like Netflix that is available in every country in the world, because we designed the film very specifically to have no dialogue so that anyone in the world can watch it and understand it. The whole story is told through expression and movement and action. So we would love for someone like Netflix, global conglomerate, to take it on.
Yeah,
Oh,
and
there
not
you
only
go.
that,
Yeah.
but we're also a very diverse crew that created it. We have, like, even though we're based in Canada these days, like, Canada is a very multicultural place these days. So yeah, we have a crew that comes from all different places. So the film is a result of that. So yeah, being in Netflix where the whole world could watch it, it would be beautiful.
Yeah, and you got to promote, because sometimes Netflix just lets it sit there and then it goes away, and you go, so you got to do more promo. Okay, that I
Yeah.
tell this to people, but they just sit on it. They go, oh, it got there, and I go, yeah, but unless you promote it, no one knows it's there, because Netflix sometimes puts it, and it's good. They know who likes what, but if the subject's a little different, then you go, well, all right, so yeah, but you'll find the audience, and I love that you're bringing it to La Femme. But I love the animation style. I'm so stuck on that. So keep doing it. Keep with the team that you got, Robin. I know there's more stories in you. Keep it going, okay?
Thank you
Sounds
so
great.
much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, more after this. We have Christina with us. Christina, look, you got something here, and it literally says a short film about what happens in the ladies' room called Ladies' Room. There's a lot of subjects I want to stay away from, but help me out with this because I haven't seen it yet.
Well, it sounds like you've been diving into a lot of subjects, and I've been hearing a lot about your mom. I wonder if she's ever been drunk in a ladies' room too.
You know, she said something about menudo, and I said, you know what? How do you know that about alcohol and menudo? She goes, it just works. I go, and then I tried. We had a conversation because I'm talking about life and history and all that. People are kind of going back to the history of family. And I said, Ma, you remember you mentioned go-go dancing? And she said, no. And I said, you don't, I have a good memory. I guarantee there's a story there. What is this about?
This is about just like girls meeting up in the women's bathroom at a club one night after they've had a few drinks. One is going through a breakup and the other one is trying to help cheer her up. So like, you know, there was a very famous Reddit thread maybe a few years ago about your best drunk stories of women in the bathroom. And it's just like a lot of tales about women helping women, cheering them up, like hyping them up, sharing, you know, if they need lipstick or a tampon or something. It's just like women coming together in the ladies' room, being friends for like however much time they're in there and then going their separate ways.
I have a story, but I wasn't in the room. But I remember when they went to the room, and then when they came back, I said, I have the story. The guy that was with us, I guarantee he put a pill in that drink, and she could have got, raped. Okay, but we saved her. Thank God. We kind of said, come with us. And she came with us. But the whole conversation took place, I think, in the bathroom. But then I said, this guy bounced all of a sudden. He should have cared because she was so sick. And he wanted to take her in his vehicle away from us. And I said, I think that intervention, but that needs to be a story. But
I hate to hear that.
Yeah, me too. But let's talk about your story. Thank you for bringing it to La Femme. People don't understand. It can get dark really quick or very fun all of a sudden, right?
That's right. No men in the ladies' room in my story, just women having a great time. And, you know, I wrote it so these two women sort of go through the whole arc of a relationship. They meet, they sort of fall in love, they have a fight, they break up, and then the next morning, it's kind of just like all like a hangover haze, but the lessons they learn stick with them forever.
Now, remember, I wasn't in the room, by the way, but you just this is how stories get told. And I need to see this, okay? But I'm telling you, I have a story from that because a woman came out, she had a story, the other woman had a story, and the other woman had a story. I said, and I felt like, because I was the only one that didn't drink, right? I was like the designated driver that just showed up. And so I was able to say, they probably don't even remember that night, but I was talking one because she was on the phone, very pretty, but there was a breakup happening. She needed to be away from that guy. And then, but okay, how did this happen? Did you have a moment like this? And then you go, this has to be a story. Seriously.
No, I think all women have stories like this. See, like you already have a few. Like anytime someone uses the restroom, something could happen. It could be something amazing, it could be something terrible. But usually when women come together in that restroom, it's like a sacred meeting place.
Yeah, yeah, and truth comes out about all you men and
Right.
sometimes women, right? So be careful what you do. Okay, great job. Keep it going. And I know this is a short. I get it. How long is it?
It's about 5 minutes.
Okay, and you get it really quick. But how long did it take to make it?
Okay, well, we shot in one day. So we were very grateful to get a location, Marquee nightclub in New York City. And they said that we could have it for one day. So we had to cram everything into a very long shoot day. But we made it work. And we were so grateful that we got to use that location.
I did that once with the production, and I was like, shoot, we didn't have enough time because we thought we were going to be only like maybe max 3-4 hours. We ended up being there like 6-7 hours, and they wanted to kick us out. And I'm like, I'm so sorry. But I'm like, this is all we got. And then do you ever have that moment you go, if we had more time, we would have done that?
Oh, absolutely. I think that happens on every shoot, but they had to turn it into a nightclub. People had to come and get their drink on, then we had to get out of there.
All right. Well, good job. Keep it going, and congratulations. I can't wait to see it. It's out there. It's called Ladies Room. I can't wait to see the full. Are you going to do a full on this, or are you going to just leave it as a short?
I think this one is good as a short, but I love to write features about women and friendships and all their raucous behavior.
Okay. All right. And you're probably good at dialogue, huh?
Yes.
Okay. Because some people are good at dialogue. Some people just because and this is the thing where guys need to get with a woman that understands, like, because sometimes guys write like they think, right? And they think women talk like this. They don't. So you gotta get with a woman and say, would a woman actually say this? They go, no, they would never say that. Like, what's wrong with you? Because sometimes and guys are like, no, women they do not. Get a woman there, she'll tell you what they really say. And so good job. I cannot wait to see
let a woman write it.
Yeah, or that. But what I mean is sometimes guys write it, but they need to have a woman involved once he writes it.
Okay.
As a collaborator. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I guess that works, but I think we should just let women write everything.
That's true. That works too. Get rid of the men. Who needs them? Bye, men. All right, there you go. Okay. We'll see you next time.
All right, thank you.
We're here with Alexandra, and Alexandra, look, I'm gonna be honest with you. I looked at this description. I said, man, that's what I tell people to do, but they don't do. And I love that you named it that. It's a short film about procrastination and being unable to start. I wrote it while procrastinating, trying to write something else. Therefore, it's called An Ode to Procrastination. Tell me about it. Okay, we can't hear you. Your mic is mic'd in a muted way.
Oh my God, everybody was so good and I'm muted. Hello.
It's okay. Let's start again. We want to give you a quick start. I'm going to do it. Okay, Adam. Let me take care of it. I'm just going to go to the La Femme, and then we're coming right back with you, and we'll do it right from the start. Okay? How do you say your last name?
Kingo.
Kingo. Okay, we'll be right back. Hold on. That's right. It's time for Alexandra. And Alexandra, you got a movie that I'm not going to lie, so many people do this. But I love that you wrote it at a time that you're like, procrastination. And then you named it something that I go, I like that. An ode to procrastination. What's it about?
Hi there. Yeah, A Note to Procrastination is a short film about this abstract artist named Sarah. And Sarah is writing something that she thinks might be a project of her lifetime, but she procrastinates because of the pressure that, the excitement of the project brings. And it basically explores all these relatable fears a lot of us artists have. Like, we're sometimes scared to start because the project is too grand or too exciting, or perhaps I'm sometimes scared when something exciting comes up that what if it's like the best thing I'll ever done in my life, and then what's next in this case. So yeah, she fights her fears by sort of completely ignoring them, and in the film she comes up with all the reasons not to stop.
Okay, I love it because I love the description. There's a short film about procrastination, being unable to start. I wrote it while procrastinating, trying to write something else. I love that because a lot of people do that. I'll give you an example. I've been doing story, right? And sometimes I use my mother as like a little soundboard, and sometimes I say, "Can you take notes?" Because she takes really fast notes. She knows shorthand, okay? And so when I talk, she takes it right there. You go, well, why not just speak into recording device? Because in a way, it's hard to explain, but like when a person's hearing it, you go, oh, and then you see the expression. You go, do you get it? Do you not get it? Right? But then she said, I'm going to write a story. I said, that's awesome. So I had her do the first like sentence. She hasn't done anything with it. So what do you do with that? Like, because I love this. It's a short. I get it. But like, did you learn anything from that? Like, I don't want to procrastinate anymore because I'm just going to do it.
I mean, the backstory of the whole thing is I am a photographer turned commercial director turned now film director. So obviously at some point I'm in Los Angeles directing commercials, but I haven't done any personal projects. So the whole pressure around, am I actually a director? Am I not, was real. So I ended up just going ahead with it and it all worked out.
Well, and I'm glad you brought it all together. Good job. It's an ode to procrastination. Should you procrastinate?
Yeah, I think it's fine. It's part of the process. I mean, I think you need to befriend procrastination. Like at this point, I know it's part of the process. Like if I'm in between an important project and I'm suddenly sleepy, I'll just go and have a nap and then get back to it. I think you just need
I
to.
like that. I like that, especially when you have like a break, right? That's nice. Okay, so I will keep going and doing what you're doing. We're going to see this. It's all at La Femme. Thank you for bringing it. What because I do have a question. I don't really get to ask this. What made you think of submitting it to La Femme?
To be honest, I was specifically looking into sort of female-led, female-run, female highlighting festivals, and that did sound like a really good one. I'm unfortunately not attending. I'm in London, rocking my red lipstick at midnight, but I'm excited to tune in and check all the movies.
Well, and I'm glad you're here with us. We have another person flying in from London. You should like team up with that person and be like, dude, kind of like bum a ticket, seriously. Just say you're like the assistant. I don't know. But yeah, and I love because I'm going to go to London at some point. I have someone that actually they broadcast from there, and we do it just like this. I love that you say it's because it's late. We always have this like thing. She goes, "Don't call me after a certain time." So it's after midnight there, right?
Just about approaching.
Yeah, and they do that 24-hour thing. I just don't understand. But anyway, an ode to procrastination. Oh, let me ask you this. Since it is a short, right? People have been saying, oh, I want to feature. Do you want to feature this or do you want to feature something else? And you mentioned directing. So what are you going to do next?
I mean, I think this whole experience really, made me calm and made me understand I am a director and I can really do this. So I think Ode is really nice. It's a little sketch. It's 4.5 minutes. But I am really into writing comedy, it turns out. So yes, bigger and better.
I like it. I like comedy because I got thoughts about that. Because comedy, seriously, people need to be entertained. My God. All right. Okay. How long did this take to make?
I mean, there's two questions. It took very quick to make. It took very long to write, which is very on theme. So to be honest, it came together in a couple of months. Again, having a good team that I worked with through multiple previous projects, like I just had a massive, very friendly support net. So it came together quite fast. But I think again because of this little imposter syndrome and because of this whole can I, can I not, I've been putting it away for a long time. So it's been brewing for, I don't know, 2 years. And then, yeah, it came together in 3 months.
Well, I love it. Keep going with it and keep doing, because you never know when it's around the corner. Especially like I need someone that can write because I have script. I have so many scripts that are done this way, for my mother. And I go, I need somebody that can write a novel. Would you turn it into a novel?
Ooh, interesting. I think it could be like, I do like Sarah as a character. I mean, you'll see she's very charming. I almost would go back to her, and it could be like a series of little visual sketches and little visual stories that could definitely work.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. And that's what I say. Give us someone that can write a book and then, do it all around the world because, it doesn't have to be just the area. Big deal. You never know. Well, Alexandra, thank you for spending time with us. And for those that are checking it out, make sure to go ahead and get a ticket. It's happening. I'm so wish you were here. It's at the big movie theater. Like, it's not even a little one. Like, they used to do like a little local theater, but at the Regal Cinema, it's big. It's where like all the big movies are at. So you'd be like, wow, I wish you could come out. Can you get somebody to like, let's talk about because if you had the money, would you go? Like, would you go in person? Because people don't understand. You submit, but you don't get to participate 100%,
Absolutely love to. It's currently a little schedule clash, but I'll have to see.
Yeah. All right. Good. Because
wedding in Turkey, I think, which isn't the worst, but in LA.
God. Okay. Well, I just say because filmmakers, they need money. That's why they do a short. But if they have a feature, but anyway, so good job. Keep it going and keep all of what you're doing alive. All right.
Thank you.
Okay. We'll talk to you later.